Hello, everyone. It is Reverend Dr. Katie. I am really happy to be here with you. I am just a little bit earlier than I had thought I would be, which is good news. It is Monday evening, but you can catch this on the replay if you're not catching it now. And I was away for the whole weekend at a wonderful family event where I was at my grandmother's 90th birthday. And I was intending to post right before I went to the big celebration and the party, but we had a incident where I had to make a last minute run to CVS for some much needed supplies, and we had an incident with a fire ant bed. And so I couldn't quite post on that day. So fire ants and a quick trip to the drugstore kind of interfered. And I don't want to do this. I never want to post in a rush. I always want to be able to give you sort of the fullest version of myself that I have at that moment in time. So we have been talking a lot about fear and how fear affects us as Christians. And if anyone on the planet shouldn't be afraid, right, it's Christians, because we have Jesus walking beside us every minute of the day. But of course, we're human. And so we do experience fear. We experience challenges that we have to overcome. Those can make us fearful. That's a normal part of human life. So this is not a video to chastise anyone for feeling afraid. It's a video to talk about ways to move through those blockages so that fear doesn't rule our life. If fear is ruling our life, then we can't live into the dramatic, radical, beautiful, wonderful callings that God has for us. We can't live into the infinite abundance that God has in store for us in our lives and the amazing ways that God can use us. We never even get to that point. So really, we're here to talk about fear and fear not. So a big message in the Bible is be not afraid. It is said so many times, dozens and dozens of times, be not afraid. It doesn't usually tell us how not to be afraid. So we're going to fill in those gaps a little bit now. And of course, you all know, because you're here, that I believe metaphysical tools, I know metaphysical tools can be a huge help, not only in helping us shift past the fear, but in identifying what it is that we're afraid of. And sometimes we've lived with it for so long and it's so deeply embedded right here in our heart space, we don't even know what it is that we're afraid of anymore. But then everything that we do comes as a result of that fear or those fears. And so this can really stop us from living the life that God calls us to live. And so learning to deal with the fear is one way that we can step into our callings. The fear may still be there, but as soon as we start to recognize it and deal with it in a way that's in high resonance and really high vibration, then the fear starts to dissipate. And eventually we arrive at a place where we kind of look over our shoulders and we're like, what was that? What was that fear? Oh, I don't even have that anymore. Right? Because it just dissolves behind us. So that's the place that we all want to get to, right? And we start maybe with some of the smaller fears and then work our way up to the ones that are more debilitating in our lives. So we have to learn to live in a way where the fear doesn't rule us. And then we can get out of the way and we can let God do God's amazing work in our lives. And that's what we're really all about. And of course, metaphysical tools can help you do that. So those of you, I'm going to talk about two kinds of fears here today. And I know you all posted some of your fears. You're so brave to do that. So I want to compliment everyone who did that and let that be known. Sometimes it's relationships. I saw a lot of fear of success. I saw a lot of fear of failure. Fear of failure is the same thing as fear of success, right? They go hand in hand. If we are successful and we have a high impact on the world, then we have to know what to do with that. And that can be kind of scary, but I can definitely help you with that. So I'm going to talk about two fears, and most people here will have one or the other. One is you're new at the whole metaphysical thing. You're a little fearful about learning about it. Or you're highly into the metaphysical thing, but you're a little fearful about how that might tie into your Christian faith. And you know you're a Christian, but you've been holding these in two separate worlds for a long time. You don't know how to put them together. And so if one of those describes you, listen up. So those of you who are fearful about learning about metaphysics, you might be afraid that it won't be compatible with your Christian faith. You might be afraid that you're going to let something evil into your life. You're going to open a door that you don't know how to shut, right? That's a really common one that I hear. then you're stopping the flow of energy that is available to you because this fear is keeping you from exploring something that can have really, really great impact on your life, right? And so dealing with that fear is one really crucial step in your own spiritual walk and your own spiritual health that I'm going to invite you to really, really take a look at. What is it exactly that you're afraid of? If you're not sure, I might be able to help you with that. And then, is that something that can be addressed? This might be addressed through just getting in there and doing it. It might be addressed through more knowledge. You might need a little help integrating metaphysics into your Christian life, into what role you want that to have in your Christian journey. But the result of not doing that, if you're listening to me, you're listening to me for a reason, right? So the fear of not doing that means that your spiritual life might be slowing down, and it might be a trickle of what it could be instead of the beautiful rushing stream that you really desire in your life. Those of you, on the other hand, who have been really into metaphysics for a long time, and you're Christian, you love Jesus, but you're not sure how they go together, you might be really scared that when you look and take a deeper, you kind of take a deeper look underneath the cover, you might be scared that you're not going to like what you find. You might be scared of like 5 verses in the whole Bible that you think apply to you, and you don't know how to deal with them, and that you're scared you're going to have to give up something that's really, really meaningful to you. And this may show up in your life as, well, just as fear, but also as deep sadness, that you have these 2 components of your spirit that seem separate to you, and you really want to be able to intertwine those together and integrate those together. So when we do face, if you have either one of those fears, and the smallest one can still, even just the little spark in you can be really, really damaging. So I encourage you to do some excavation work on this. But when you do face your fears and start to live so that they're not ruling you, then the magic and the flow and high vibration all starts to happen. Then you're really ready to serve others at a pretty high level. So if we're trying to serve others, part of every Christian's calling is to serve others in some capacity. If we are trying to serve others from a place of fear, then our help is fearful, right? Then it has that kind of imprint on it. If we help people from a place of anxiety or uncertainty, then it has that imprint on it. It doesn't mean that we're not helping. It means that that impact is a little bit more closed off and anxious than it needs to be, where it can be really far-reaching and wide. So once we move that fear out of the way, and then we start to integrate all of these different components of our lives in beautiful ways, and we can live in high vibration. We're not making decisions from fear. We're not living our lives in a way where fear rules us, but instead with high spirit and good common sense. I'm always a fan of common sense. Then we can really start to live and discover the callings and discover the vision that God has for our lives and step fully into that. And when we're in that space, fear has no spot anymore, right? So we've learned what to do with it at that point in time. And so this is the kind of thing that I love to help people do. Reach out to me. You can private message me. I would love to talk to you more if this is something, that you are needing in your own life at this moment in time. So just private message me. Let me know how I can be of assistance. And I'm going to keep it short for today and go ahead and go. But you all know how to reach me, and I will post a little more about it tomorrow. We'll have some part 2 and part 3 this week. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.